Hello everybody and welcome to this Mobile Monday feature. I am Mr. Koala and we are doing a skills, synergy, and strategy guide for Marvel's relevant champion, Super Soldier, specifically Arc Shield weapon. Now if you're a veteran of this game, feel free to skip ahead to the synergy section where I really break down the nitty gritty of this game. But if you're just starting out, stick around. We're going to go over skills first, and then synergies, and then hop into some gameplay strategy. First we'll talk skills and we'll begin with his heavy, Force Shield. Super Soldier puts up his shield to block any incoming attack, granting armor up and unstoppable from blocking direction. When blocking end, he fires a repulsor beam from his shield, dealing heat damage. Next is Special Ability 1, Freedom Strike. Super Soldier leaps forward to strike a target enemy and deal crushing damage. Super Soldier's Special Ability 2 is Arc Bash. Super Soldier bashes enemies in front of him, dealing heat damage and inflicting stun to nearby enemies while inflicting slow to more distant enemies. And my favorite ability for Super Soldier's Arc Shield, SP3, Crackdown. Super Soldier smashes his Arc Shield into the ground, knocking down nearby enemies with crushing damage. After 2 seconds, the impact area explodes, dealing heat damage to any enemies caught inside. So now that we've gone over the basics of skills, we can get down to the nitty gritty and get down to some stats, and more importantly for me, synergies. Now there are 3 things that I feel make Super Soldier stand out as a tank class. His heavy ability to block, his ability to move around the map with his dash and his SP1, and then his SP3 Crackdown playmaking ability is unreal. Now we can get all those 3 things from our synergies. For this personally, I lean towards the Counter Rush set. The first piece I like to go for is Brace for Impact. When you block an attack, gain Rush. When Rush ends, refresh your heavy ability. Now, that means your heavy is up when you want it. Every 5 seconds after you block, you'll have your heavy up again. You are able to manipulate this. I'll show you with some gameplay footage where you can have it up for the 70% cooldown reduction. And then right after that, press it again. And then have your Counter Rush buff end. You have 3 heavies within 5 seconds. It's really fun to do. And then you throw some of these other synergies on top of that, and you have a battery operating system for all of your cooldowns. And from there, I mean, it's a very clear choice for me. I go lead by example, the Helm piece. When you block an attack, gain Rush. When Rush ends, gain Ultimate Charge. That is a 15% cooldown charge at the end of Rush. Again, you're going through that buff. At the end of that buff, you know you're going to get that. You know you're going to get that 15% cooldown. You know you're going to get your heavy refresh. You know that you can make plays at the end of your rush. You can control the flow of the map, be able to go in knowing that you're going to have your heavy up, or you know that your special is going to be up at the end of that cooldown. And the final piece I go for gives me that last bit that I talked about, and that was mobility. Serum Sprint, the leg piece. When you block an attack, gain Rush. When Rush ends, gain additional stamina. Again, we have a battery going here now. At the end of this Rush buff, every time we block, we get Rush. At the end of the Rush buff, you get all these things. You get your heavy back up, you get stamina, and then most importantly, you get your SP3 Crackdown. You get cooldown reduction on all of those. You're ready to go. You control when you're going to be able to go in and out of fights. From there's a couple of different directions you can go. You could go for the Battle World set, which I see a lot of people doing, and it is very good. You get a lot of flat, tanky stats from that set. It is a very good option, but for me, personally, I like to use the Under Pressure synergies. I like the foot piece. First in, last out. On dash, gain armor for 3 seconds. This armor bonus is doubled if surrounded. Again, this is stacking off of that previous synergies where at the end of Counter Rush, you know you're going to have your heavy attack. You're going to have stamina. You can dash in. You're going to have armor. If you're surrounded, you have even more armor. You're ready to make a play. It's all focused around the playmaking ability that comes from your mobility, your ability to block, and your SP3. And the final piece I go for is Know You Move. It's not the most viable piece. It doesn't give you this extraordinary thing, but it gives you, while you're surrounded, you gain melee resist. It's a good way to add a little bit more mitigation. You're allowed to get up in people's faces and block some attacks. Now, as I stated, there's a couple different ways you can go. Like under pressure, Synergies has shield arm ready. While surrounded, gain heavy regen speed. Now that's a really good one as well. If you're in the fray often, you're right there trying to be tanky, you're going to have your heavy refreshing very, very, very often. But for me, I like to be able to manipulate right around that rush. Because then I know that I can either go in or that I can throw up my heavy or I can pop down an SP3. I control the map. I control the tempo. Knowing exactly when those things comes up means that I know when I'm going to make the plays. So now we looked at Synergies. We have all the numbers. We have all the paperwork. We're ready to go. Let's look at some strategy and some gameplay and figure out how to use all these things on the map. So as of right now, there's only one other tank in the game, and that's Hulk. So if we're comparing tanks, Super Soldier is less sustain and more mobility. Where Hulk is able to go in, take damage, and regen, for me, Super Soldier is more about blocking damage, moving around the map, flanking, and making plays. Now there is a few set combos I would like to talk about. It is really important to have your SP2 up when you have your SP3 because that ensures that your second half of your damage will hit. Because if you stun them in your SP3, they won't be able to dodge out of the second half of damage, and you get that large chunk of damage to bring down enemies. Another combo I talked about in the Synergies is the heavy. If you're paying attention and you manipulate it right, they recently added in where if you only hold it for a split second, you get 70% of that cooldown back. Now if you block with that quick heavy, you get 70% cooldown back as well as your counter rush buff. That means if timed properly, you can use your heavy again and then instantly get it refreshed when the buff ends. That's 3 heavies in 5 seconds. If you're properly manipulating that, you could be moving around the map where your dash is, blocking this, blocking that, and getting in position for your SP3. Now as I stated, Super Soldier does lack a little bit in sustain, and I think that does bring up his skill cap a little bit, but that just means you have to pay attention to your enemy's dashes and know when they don't have a dash. That way you're not streamlining your flanks and your attacks in your SP3s. For me, Super Soldier's main focus is to be in front of your teammates, blocking damage, and then when you have your SP3 up, being ready to either engage or disengage and laying down the heavy damage. You'll be able to manipulate the map, control the flanks, and set a tempo that best suits your team. As a final thought, I feel like they did a really good job with Super Soldier. I feel like I'm there holding my shield, defending my teammates, and then when the time is right, capitalizing on a mistake, laying down heavy damage, and capturing the point. And if you use these synergies and strategies, you really feel like you can do this all day. As always, thank you for watching, subscribe for more videos, and on your way out, enjoy this gameplay from a recent stream. Let's see if I can bait out the enrage. Yep, okay, there's the enrage. So as soon as his enrage goes on, okay, he backed up. But I can get him now. Oh, my stun did not go off because I wasn't in range. There we go, got him that time. I'm gonna put that down just to get the extra damage on Captain as well. Let's grab those healths. Stun that Captain. There we go. This should be pretty straightforward from here. Oh, shot it.